No.
Okay. Well, you are seeing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the AI4Cities webinar to hear more about the project and the process which we are going through now and during the project. And my name is Kaisa Sibelius and I'm the coordinator of this project and I come from the Forum Virium Helsinki, which is the developed company owned by the city of Helsinki. And in this webinar, we are going through we are going to introduce the project and explain you also that what does that mean that this is the pre-commercial procurement project, and then my colleagues from Stavanger and Amsterdam will explain and why we are selected mobility and energy as domains where we are looking for these new solutions, and they will give some example showcases from the cities as well. And also in the end, there is a short recap that what does that open AI means for the smart cities in Europe. And then there's a short time for the questions and answers. And please, if you have any questions, you can write them on that box, that question box, and we can come back on them later. And unfortunately, this platform does not allow to attendees use the audio during the presentation.
There's still no sound.
No sound.
Are you having your sound on?
Yes, I have.
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay, good.
No, it's
Okay, good.
Okay, sorry. Somebody was not able to hear. Sorry for that interruption. So if we start that why these cities, these 6 cities, the Copenhagen, Helsinki, Stavanger, Tallinn, Paris, and Amsterdam are in this project. They have all of them have a goal to become carbon neutral in few years, even after 5 years in the Copenhagen. And as you see, this is from the example from Helsinki that how this CO2 emissions come from the city and heating, electricity, and transportation are covering 95% of them, and that's the reason why we are looking for these solutions in that mobility and energy domains. And if we go further, so what we are looking for something unique that helps cities to become carbon neutral and reduce those emissions. And as I already said twice, there is two challenge areas that they are mobility and energy. And those solutions, what are looking for, need to be not market ready, so they are not yet on the market. And this AI will and these solutions and the AI will bring some added value for the cities and when they are making decisions and managing different activities. And then the goal of these challenges is quite obvious. I could say that to keep that and make the usage of energy more efficient and support the climate goals of those cities, and also support the digitalization and data strategies of the cities, and for the citizens it means better living and working conditions, and also the reduced carbon footprint, and also the cost will be reduced after these actions. And for the for whom we are addressing this is of course the companies who have possibilities to find and test the new solutions and get maybe the first references through this process, and for the cities, of course, those new tools and way to also test them and develop together with the companies. And then for the cities and other stakeholders, it's a possibility to follow the PCP process or those development of solutions as well. And if you are presenting a city and you are interested to become a follower city, we have a program which is called the Preferred Partner. So that's one options to you as well, to see a closer look for that process. And who we are, here is the shortcut of that project as a project. So it's a 3 years long, and the budget for the PCP for the companies and the development is 4.6 million euros, and the total budget is over 6 million. And here are the partner cities, and Forum Virium is the partner and presenting the city of Helsinki, and in the Cap Digital is presenting cities, Paris region and Paris city, and then there's Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Stavanger and Tallinn as well as partners, and then ICLEI is our competence partners and supporting our communications as well. And then next slide, please. What's up? No, now. And a few words about these preferred partners. So at the moment we have now 5 cities who have been signed the contract, and then also the Open and Agile Smart Cities group, who is presenting the bigger wider range of cities in Europe and also further. And this, as I already said, that preferred partners can get the overview of the project and the process, and also give advices or become a mentor for this project. So if you are interested, so you are welcome. And then, so here is presenting the idea of the project, and there's that this based on these cities' visions and strategies to become carbon neutral, and then those 2 challenge areas are defined. And here you can see some tentative ideas of those challenges, what we have been now defining during this open market consultation period of the project, and the AI has a crucial role in this project, and it should give some extra knowledge and give extra support for the cities and improve the management decision making as well. And then about this pre-commercial procurement process, my colleagues will explain that to you. So please, Hugo, you can now take the floor and continue from this.
Thank you, Kaisa. Hello, everyone. My name is Hugo Tamagnini Gonçalves. I work with guys here at Forum William Helsinki, and I'm here with my hat of PCP instrument specialist today. So as you heard, AI4Cities is a pre-commercial procurement short. We use the short name term of PCP for describing pre-commercial procurements. Pre-commercial procurement is part of the innovation procurement tools, which are relatively new, but very important tools, since it allows the public sector to drive innovation from the demand side, so that we, cities, can modernize public sector services faster and be able to cope with grand societal challenges or wicked problems, such as the case of climate change. And this wouldn't be possible to be addressed via traditional public procurement instruments. It also creates an important opportunity for companies in Europe to bring research results to the market and gain leadership in new markets. In EU, via the Horizon 2020 program, there are two complementary types of innovation procurement. The first is the PCP, which addresses the development and testing of innovative solutions. And the second is the public procurement of innovative solutions, also called PPI, which focuses on the deployment of innovative solutions, such as the ones developed in PCPs like ours, the AI4Cities. So PCPs are great innovation tools, not just for the cities, but also for the industry. By industry, I include researchers, developers, entrepreneurs, so everyone with a potential idea for an innovative product that matches the needs of the cities. It helps the cities to work together by tackling joint challenges. So it's always tackling the needs or challenges of a group or a larger group of cities. And in that way, it allows us to challenge the industry to develop innovative solutions that meet unmet needs. And it also allows us to compare alternative potential technologies and filter out the best possible solutions that the market can deliver to address our needs. For the suppliers, you get a very important first customer reference, which of course gives you a competitive advantage in the market. Here we have some key principles of PCPs when compared with traditional procurement. So it's a joint procurement. You heard it before from me. So that means that we have the multiple public procurements with multiple public procurers with a common need. And they join forces and they form what is called a buyers group. The buyers group is represented by a lead procurer figure, which in this case, it's Forum William Helsinki as the project coordinator. And the lead procurer acts on behalf of the entire group. So all contracts are done by the lead procurer in accordance with local public law. It focuses on high risk in a way, because compared with traditional procurement, we focus on disruptive innovations and not yet market-ready technologies that should be applied in difficult contexts. So the proposed solutions need to bring radical innovation in the sense that no similar solutions are available at this moment or in the near term. We focus on challenges that can be broken down into sub-challenges or specific needs, as you heard before shortly by Kaisa. So these are presented as functional specifications. We do not provide technical specifications or try to define how the solution should look like. And in fact, we are offering a wide range of the so-called sub-challenges or needs in order to foster innovation. Our key criteria evolves around helping the cities achieve carbon neutrality within those two larger domains of mobility and energy. As any challenge-based competition, we have several suppliers competing through different phases of the development. So this means we need at least 2 suppliers to be involved until the procurement ends. you will see shortly after that we intend actually to have a quite wide range or number of suppliers involved in the process. It's a process of shared risks and rewards. So although as the buyers, we receive the right to utilize the solutions royalty-free, but the IPR remains with the suppliers. And the suppliers will have the obligation to exploit the IPR within a certain time frame after the project ends. This means that we expect, of course, suppliers, the tenderers, to provide their own resources in addition to the funding available and provided by us. So for that purpose, we ask the tenderers to present their offers with and without the selling of IPR. So we can have a way to properly calculate the price and the market conditions and the sharing of costs between us, the buyers and the suppliers. Importantly, as an R&D, next slide. It's a procurement of research and development. So it's about innovative solutions before they are commercially available. So with the focus on R&D, it means that we cannot fund end product development or the deployment of commercial volumes of end products. So there is a minimum requirement for at least 50% of the project resources to be spent in R&D. Also importantly, as an R&D development service, the PCPs fall outside World Trade Organization and EU directives that regulate public procurement. So we will work, of course, still within the principles of transparency and equality, but we are a much more agile and flexible instrument to be deployed in a way that facilitates a collaborative approach between buyers and suppliers. So although it's a competition open for all, it is an European R&D tool. So at least a minimum of 50% of the project activities and budget must be used within the EU or its associated countries. So for non-EU companies, you either need to work via your subsidiaries established within the EU or associated countries, or then you need to work in partnership with EU companies. The funding for non-EU companies cannot exceed 50% of the total budget requested. The procurement takes place over 3 phases in a very interactive and collaborative way. And we'll look at the PCP phases next. But shortly, I just wanted to recap some of the most important points which I went through already. So I'll not repeat them, but I wanted to leave this slide in the presentation so that future readers can get a clear picture on the PCP instrument. And also to mention that these requirements are not the entire requirements linked to the PCP instrument. There are other basic administrative and other type of requirements that need to be respected when applying to the PCP. But those will be completely or exhaustively detailed in the request for tenders that will be launched and gradually being also advertised in our website as we move forward towards the request for tenders. So about the PCP process and timeline, the procurement itself is divided into 3 phases, from phase 1 to 3. But prior to the phases, we have a preparation stage, which we call the phase 0, which consists of open market consultation and the preparation of the request for tenders. The open market consultation is a large co-creation process where the city buyers engage with the market, presenting the challenge, assessing the existing products and technologies currently available, and the potential for innovative solutions. It's during this process, we get into a dialogue with also a wide range of stakeholders. So not just companies or research institutions, but we also have a dialogue with our peers via the preferred group of partners that we have established and will continue to grow over time. So it's an open process, it's not a closed one. And so that we can get a better understanding of the common needs and the interest of other potential buyers outside our group of procurers inside the buyers group, and the capacity of the market to respond to the challenge. Are we being too demanding, not enough ambition? Can we produce or change somehow, refine the challenge in a way that it brings more impact for us, the cities, and Europe at large? So it is an open process and an important one. The Open Market Consultation started last April and will continue until the end of September. This webinar is the first main activity with regards to the dialogue with the market, but there will be many others to come, and Kaiser will talk about it at the end of these presentations. Yeah, so based on the results of the Open Market Consultation, a request for tenders is prepared and it's going to be launched. The request for tenders includes a thorough description of the challenge, cities' backgrounds, expectations, how the process will be, the timelines, and how we are going to evaluate the tenders. It will present a complete overview of the 3 phases of procurement that span over 1.5 years. And we'll ask you then to answer by presenting your concept idea, your plans for its development and exploitation models. And you will have to outline the unit prices per cost categories, research, unit costs for personnel, other types of expenses, and the estimate of the total cost to implement each of the phases of the procurement. But only the phase 1 budget will be binding, which means that it's successful, then the phase 1 budget that you presented is the one that you will be entitled to receive moving forward. Also, the unit prices that are presented are going to be binding throughout the process. So our cost rate or whatever can be presented as a unit price will be locked for the entire process. The procurement starts with the PCP phase 1, which is a solution technical design. We plan to have 20 suppliers per lot, so 40 in total. This large number of suppliers reflects an expected wide variety of proposal solutions covering several of the sub-challenges or needs identified by the cities. You have here at the bottom of this, in the figure, a maximum budget per supplier intended to be provided. These figures are indicative at this stage, since they will be validated when it's time to launch the request for tenders. So all information regarding budget allocations are indicative at this stage. The phase will last approximately 4 months, and it's designed to be highly interactive. So with all the buyers providing as much as insights into the challenges and needs as possible, so you have the opportunity to get deeply familiarized with our realities, our end users' wishes, where your solutions could land, how they should be integrated, the underlying smart city infrastructure, data sets, etc. At the end of this phase, we expect to see an exhaustive technical specification of your solutions, a plan for the prototype development for the phase 2, so an implementation plan, including the budget needed, and a business plan draft for its future exploitation of your solution. Prior to the end of the phase 1, we will provide you with a phase 2 call-off document, which is a refinement or it elaborates on the original request for tenders information by going deeper towards the requirements, the timings, and our phase 2 expectations that are refined also based on the suppliers that enter the phase 1. So we will add as much relevant information as possible from the buyer side in order to help you to develop the best possible solutions with the best possible market uptake. Based on these outputs, we will first assess how you performed during the phase 1. There are 3 levels of performance. One is unsatisfactory, which you would not get paid if you are unsatisfactory. Your performance is unsatisfactory. Then it's satisfactory, which is good enough to get paid, but you will not be assessed towards the possibility to move to phase 2. And there is the successful, which means that you are then assessed or you are invited to move to phase 2, provided that your phase 2 offer is compelling enough. So entering phase 2, we expect to have 10 suppliers per lot. This number can change depending on the quality of offers and the budget available. So when we talk about minimum of suppliers, expected suppliers, that depends. We have a pre-budget allocation per phase. I will show you at the end of this slide. And there, so you can, and when we give you the maximum budget per supplier, it means that you can apply up to that amount. So if you ask for less money because you believe it makes you more competitive, or that you don't even need that much capital to provide your solution, then we might have a leftover budget that allows us to fund even more suppliers than what we have planned for that specific phase. That provided that the quality of the offers is good enough. So when we are talking about expected number of suppliers, it can be higher and it can be lower if we do not have good enough offers that pass the threshold requirements. This phase will last for, or you will have 3 months to develop your prototypes. This phase is much less interactive because you should focus on the prototype development in a lean and agile way, so that by the end of the phase, you have your prototype is mature enough to be able to be tested in a lab environment. Of course, that all the buyers, particularly the ones towards which your solution might connect the most, will be there to answer questions and provide as much input as you might need. So similar to phase 1, prior to the end of the phase 2, we will provide you a call-off document with the specific information regarding the phase 2 timeline and activities planned and so on. And you will present us then your phase 2 offer, your phase 3 offer, including the budget offer. We expect to see at the end of phase 2, of course, the technical specifications of your prototype and a demo run in a lab environment. I mentioned that. And if your performance is considered satisfactory, we will look at your offer for the phase 3 and invite or select the ones that move into that final stage. In phase 3, we expect to have a minimum of 3 suppliers per lot, so 3 in total. Again, this number can change depending on the quality of the offers and the budget availability. Also, leftover budget from the previous phases move to the next phase. So in phase 3, we might have still a relatively high number of leftover budget that allows us to have more solutions moving to this stage. Our intention as buyers is to have as many solutions moving forward as possible. This phase lasts 6 months, and it focuses on the testing of each solution in real-life settings. So there we are not interested in lab testings anymore. The prototypes need to be integrated into the cities that provide the testing grounds. And each solution should be tested in an expected minimum of 2 cities, so to prove its scalability. During this, you will also continue to develop the prototypes so that by the end of phase 3, they are as mature and close to the market as possible. Of course, under the constraints, respecting the constraints of the procurement process. So we again cannot fully fund solutions that are market ready. Our expectation is that prototypes deployed and improved during this phase are mature enough and relevant enough that we, the cities, will have an interest in continuing to use the versions that have been tested for the foreseeable future. So, and that will mean that your performance was considered successful. The process doesn't end there, although the procurement itself, yes. But we move then to phase 4, which focuses on the results promotion. And during these 4 months, that last phase 4, we will consider next steps, including a joint procurement plan draft not only with the buyers group, but with the extended preferred group fellow cities. So it will be a quite considerable number of public procurers involved. And we will consider how to move forward with the learnings and how to best scale up all or some of the solutions, including the successful ones, but even perhaps the ones that were satisfactory and for some reason not successful within the time frame of the PCP, but still that have shown a great potential, and our buyers shown interest in. So here you have overview of the budget divided per the 3 phases and per supplier. They include the VAT. It's a 24% VAT inclusion rate for Finnish VAT. And again, these are indicative numbers. What is a fixed number is the total budget available, which is over 4.5 million euros. Before ending my my intervention, I wanted to show you some key aspects about the contract procedure. So we will publish 1 joint request for tenders, but in that request for tenders, there will be 2 lots, one on the mobility and one on the energy, and each lot must be applied separately. So if you are interested in both lots, you will need to submit an application, a tender for each lot. Of course, the requirements, administrative and technical and so on, they are the same. The documentation, the formats, the templates, they are all the same, including the timelines. So you will have, should be quite easy for you to duplicate the information and apply for the 2 lots in case you are interested on the 2 lots. And all the buyers are supporting the 2 lots. So you still have the same number of buyer groups, and the lead procurer is the same. So we as lead procurers in Forum Video Helsinki will be awarding all the contracts and effectively acting on behalf of all the procurers in the buying group. But the rights and the feedback that you receive and the usage rights, royalty-free usage rights that are implied by taking part in this PCP are shared by the entire group of buyers, naturally. So there will be 1 single framework agreement signed with the successful tenderers that covers the entire PCP phases, all the 3 PCP phases. But between each of the phases with the call-off, then if you move to the next phase, we sign a specific phase contract, which is an addition to the framework agreement with the fixed and final cost price and so on. The payments are done per phase upon the satisfactory phase completion. Not working anymore. Yeah. Yes, okay. Thank you, guys. And finally, I wanted to leave you with a site reference for websites for more information on PCPs. So here you have a quite exhaustive view on the background of the framework that dictates innovation procurement, the PCPs, And also this innovation procurement platform and procurement forum that are managed by our expert partner, eClay. There you can find a lot of different tools and learnings from PCP and PPIs and other type of innovation procurement projects. At the end, you have a very good and exhaustive video in this Select4Cities project, which is our big sister project. It was the first PCP that we coordinated, just completed last December. And there, if you follow that link, you have a video on what is the PCP that goes much more in detail into the requirements and so on. So that's it from my side. Thank you for your time, and I give the floor back to Kaisa.
Thank you. And now it's turn to Stavanger and Amsterdam, and we start with the Stavanger in the first, and now we will share the presentation and the screen with Stavanger. So is it how it goes now? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Niels. It's your turn.
Thank you. Just finding the right mode here. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Niels Kolan. I work for the city of Stavanger, which is placed on the southwest coast of Norway. This is me, project lead for locally here in Stavanger, working in the Department of Innovation and Digitalization. And I guess a lot of what I do, have been doing for the last months, working in a new department, is focusing on innovation, but also methodology for innovation, and also procurement, which is kind of my background. I'm talking about mobility, which is one of the lots that Hugo talked about. This is a picture of the EU CO2 emissions, 2017. Gives you a clear picture that transport is important. You can see the pink piece of cake here. But for Stavanger, it's even more important. This is the picture for Stavanger. And here you can see that road transport is kind of dominating, and also maritime activity, which also includes transport. So because of the Norwegian energy mix, which is based on hydropower, our focus in this project is not so much focused on the energy lot, but more on the mobility side. But still, we are open to seeing that there are interesting alternative or cases also from the energy sector that we should look into. And of course, we want to activate the local, national, and also EU businesses as well, both on mobility and on energy. So for Stavanger, we have focused on mobility. Mobility as a challenge area here is focusing on the flow of people, logistics, and also traffic flows. We will be making sort of more literature on this sort of general topic of this challenge, also available for you to read. And in Stavanger, we are open for suggestions. As Hugo said, we are now in the Open Market Consultation, so nothing is settled. But we have identified 2 cases that we think have a clear potential, which fits Stavanger's needs, and we believe they could also fit other cities' needs. But of course, we are in a co-creative process, and that's how we want it to be. So we are depending on having a dialogue here. For example, which available data sources do we have? Is the ambition too radical, or is it not radical enough? And what are the available technologies? And what's the current sort of state of the art technology? We would like to use the process, the open market consultation, to discuss the cases that we are putting forward, and to create a knowledge base for us before we actually decide on which challenges to put to the market in the request for tender this autumn, or by the 1st of December. So for Stavanger, we are looking at optimizing and coordinating transport of goods and parcels. We believe that there is a lack of coordination and there is a lack of optimization. Many cars carrying goods in the area are half empty or less. There is also a situation that it's not so easy to make use of a local market. So local trade is difficult. And if we develop a solution that could create an ecosystem for procuring transport, then we can also use this as a basis for a marketplace. Because there is a lack of marketplaces today. There are several transport alternatives available. It's not only cars, and in the future there will be many more. But it's not. There is no good coordination, so it's hard to optimize the use of these. And what's the potential impact of our idea? It's hopefully a substantial reduction of local CO2 emissions by better use of transport capacity. It's also lowering the cost of production for local trade or local deliveries. It's to increase, hopefully, local production, for example, local food. And it's replacing some of the need for long distance transport, which again would be beneficial for CO2 reduction. And how can we use AI here? We can use AI to optimize trips and to coordinate, and we can also use AI to connect consumers and producers, and to connect the needs with available products or products to be made. The other case that we're putting forward is a company add-on for travel planning. So this is on the person flow. Today there is no integration between the public transport here in the area and the solutions that we have available for employees of the municipality of Stavanger, which makes it difficult to really use these travel solutions and to plan journeys using them. It's also difficult to navigate, to find bikes, buses, bus stops, cars, whatever. So by working on this, we're hoping to be able to boost our own travel solutions by making them easy to use, to integrate them with the public transport system, and also making it easier to use by also but making it easier to find the different solutions that we're trying to include. One thing is making all these travel solutions available, but if you can't really find them in practice, then we have a problem. So it's important for us to make it user-friendly. And we think AI could be very suitable to plan best routes and to plan the use of all possible travel solutions. So this is kind of short, but it's meant to be as well. And this is just a teaser. So it's work in progress. As I said, we want to discuss this. And our first event from Stavanger will be on the 17th of June. Due to the corona situation, of course, we are digital, and which is also very good because then we can reach the whole of Europe. And we will probably have an event both in Norwegian and one in English. So we welcome every one of you to register for this webinar. And the information and registration is to be found at our website through this link. Yeah, so that's what I had to say. Are you taking over, Kaisa?
Yes, we are now changing the content for the Amsterdam, and so floor is yours, Amsterdam. Thank you.
Okay, I believe you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Then let's start.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
great. Yeah. So welcome to the part for Amsterdam, the energy lot, and our use cases. Yeah. Today I'm with my colleague here. We're doing this with the two of us. Myself, I'm Anja Rijman, and I'm the project lead for AI4Cities. I work for the city of Amsterdam, and my background is business engineering. I work in the Chief Technology Office, and yeah, I'm working at the connection of technology business and the city. Mimi, maybe you want to introduce yourself quickly as well?
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Mimi Ilman. I work as a strategy on the energy transition for Amsterdam, and my home base is the engineering department, where we are lead buyer for the physical assets of Amsterdam, and also working on I'm working on the connection of the public, commercial, and social interests.
Yes. So in general, let me explain a little bit how the situation is in Amsterdam at the moment. So the CO2 emissions are 5,000 kilotons, and then you can see here the percentages that are how you can split it, and we see that mobility and electricity together is a huge part. If we do nothing, then it will become warmer, more wet, more dry, and the sea level will rise. For the first one, already since 1950s, we can see that there's an increase of 1.6 degrees Celsius, and it will only increase more. It will be more wet. In the Netherlands, there is already a lot of rain, and it will just become more. More dry also. There will be a period of 4 months' time where there is then not enough rain, and the sea level will rise. So the majority of Amsterdam is actually below sea level. The question is, well, what happens then? Can maybe the boats not go under the bridges anymore? So that's a problem. That's if we do nothing. So where do we want to be? What's our plan? We want to, by 2030, we want to decrease the CO2 emissions by 55%, and by 2050, we want to decrease it with 95%. And all the details you can also see in our roadmap. We had added here a link, Amsterdam Climate Neutral 2050. Now I'd like to hand over to my colleague Mimi to explain the use cases that we have. Okay, 1 second.
Thank you, Anja. We have looked towards what kind of challenges are we facing, and just like Stavanger, we are facing similar challenges as a city. So we've presented here 4 cases which are at the moment being investigated and are either in a pilot phase or are part of the policy framework on how we're going to address the climate change in Amsterdam. So the first one I'd like you to look into, and please also see this as an invite to rethink the contribution of artificial intelligence to the challenges of Amsterdam City, because it was clear to me when we asked the question in our organization that a lot of people who are working in the public administration of Amsterdam are not aware of the potential of contribution of artificial intelligence to the solution of challenges in our city. Okay, the first one is K-Walls as an energy factory. In Amsterdam, we have a lovely and beautiful historic center, which is filled with or built up by canals. And this historic center has very little space for fossil-free energy solutions because they need to be integrated in the K-walls. And of course, there is an existing infrastructure, but also the infrastructure has been neglected in the past years and maybe even decades, and there's a very intensive large restoration program underway for which budget has been made available, consisting of restoring 200 kilometers of canal walls or quay and 850 bridges in Amsterdam that must be renovated and restored. And that provides a unique opportunity to install or integrate in those K-walls an energy system for which the houses on the historic center can make use of fossil-free heating and electricity generation. And well, the question is, how can we use artificial intelligence here? Please help us. But one of the things that we were thinking of, there could be ways to either monitor the volume of energy and help us to in a smart way, share and integrate the various energy flows from the K-wall towards the end user in the entire chain of energy demand. Okay, next slide, please. Then another project which is sparking our attention, which we'd like to take further, is the potential of brake energy to actually, when a train or a metro is actually braking, a lot of energy is lost, which can be stored and used at other moments to have a smart use of your energy. There is, again, the potential impact is noted. These are all pilots that are not yet installed. And again, we wondered to what extent could artificial intelligence help us here? Is it in a matter of smart dealing with the fluctuating energy flows, or could there be a broader perspective in the sense of investigating the programming of the steering of the trains in their braking energy? Next slide, please. Okay, then another challenge which is part of Amsterdam, and it's certainly not unique for Amsterdam, but per 1st of January, we closed down our electricity generation centrale factory, the Hemweg, to reduce our CO2 emissions. And at the moment, it is a closed down factory area. And we have been looking with quite some interest in what has happened in Copenhagen, which you see on the left hand side of the picture. There you have managed to build a very cool and interesting multi-usage area where you can ski down the factory hill. And we wondered as how could we look into multi-usage of this area with a fun and coolness factor, and what kind of innovative energy systems or infrastructure could be located here. There's one thing that I'd like you to dive into in one of the first slides. Actually, we've made a reference to the roadmap to climate neutral Amsterdam, and I would like to invite you to dive into that map for further details also on this project. Next slide, please. Yeah, and one of the last challenge, which is actually yeah, well, real breaking of your head puzzle, is in Amsterdam, because we have been historically growing. There's a huge amount of cabling in the ground, which is not well sorted. We do not have one authority who is owner and registrates all the subsurface cabling. Actually, it is laid down by the individual owners of the cables, and this is causing a sort of spaghetti in the subsurface, which needs to grow towards a better organization of the cables. And secondly, we are also a leading data center hub. So there's an extensive glass fiber network in Amsterdam, which can create extra opportunities to use that fast track data network for monitoring or other items. And we wondered to what extent you could implement artificial intelligence to manage your physical assets in a smart way. And one of the examples that we looked at is that at the moment we're experiencing the biggest drought in 40 years. And we learned that over the past years, we spent over €500 million on watering our plants in the city. And that is really a challenge where I think artificial intelligence can help us to do that in a smarter way and to connect the physical assets with the monitoring of the changing climate and weather reports. Next slide, please, and that is my story.
Yeah, so that was the end. Thank you, Mimi. And yeah, please
go back to Kasia to the, I think the first or the second slide.
Yeah.
Where we have, this one. Thank you. I'd like to point your attention towards all the listeners to check out our roadmap, Amsterdam Climate Neutral in 2050. We have just published March 6th, a very extensive story of the challenges, the various transition paths, and also the potential impacts that you can look into, because these are 4 examples where we think artificial intelligence could contribute greatly. But I would like to invite the audience to look into this roadmap for inspiration.
Exactly, because we're putting this challenge out as a general one on purpose. These were use cases and examples, but of course there's much, much more. So that's up to your imagination how you can help us. Thank you very much. That's it. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay, thank you, Anja and Mimi, to Amsterdam. And we will share these slides to you afterwards, and also put those links because it's going to be a PDF, but we will share those links that has now mentioned in this presentation, so don't be worried about that. But the last presentation will be about AI. That's the explaining why we have select AI as one of the main area and the main topic of this program. So please, Timo, could you can start now, please.
Thank you. Yes, so my name is Timo Ruohomäki. I'm Program Director at Forum Virium Helsinki on the IoT and Data Program So, and I chose to use the template of our company on purpose, because what I'm presenting here is more like a backgrounder and motivational things when you are working on your product concepts, and not necessarily exact requirements or sub challenges as such. So hold on. Here we go. So just a couple of topics what we are going to do. Why this has to be agile, how AI should be open from our perspective, what we are looking for in order to improve the management of the cities, what we are looking for in the governance models, and also as a final side, also note for you about the second project called AI4EU that might be helpful in your work. So first of all, it is important to understand the differences between public sector and the commercial sector, and what are the drivers and what are the motivators there. In the commercial sector, it can be development can be faster. It can be based on standards, technologies, and product offerings, platforms, cost effectiveness, and it can be drive with references that will of the competitors that will drive other companies to jump to new technologies. In the public sector, there is a huge technical backlog. There is probably data, but it is in different systems, and it might be in bad quality. On the other hand, there is a high level of service level expectations, and of course, processes should be automated. The services should be better, and those services should be more citizen oriented. And strategy works are important drivers in the public sector as well. We already heard about the climate goals and climate programs. So those are key documents for you when you start to formulate your understanding on the requirements what the cities would have. So don't expect to have a specific list of tasks that needs to be fulfilled in terms of functionality or features. The innovation should be in your part. And you should derive that from the strategies and goals, of course. The political vision is important because it typically equals funding. So things has to be in the budget in order to be proceeded, and typically that will require some sort of political interest as well. The developing skills might not be as advanced in the cities, or there could be, but it's not necessarily available for this particular product or service that is currently on the table. So good to keep in mind. Common services as well. So even though we are working on public sector, we still have services that are common to the commercial sector. So even the cities are operating with the ERP system, a human resources system, even CRM systems are used in the cities, and help desk as well. So there might be some cross areas that are helpful. Climate goals are already mentioned, and also urban challenges typically are useful. And why this has to be agile? The problem is that we can take a snapshot of all the data sets and all the systems the city currently have, but the actual implementation, the pilot in the city, is in the spring of 2022. And in 2 years, a lot of things will happen, especially when working on the data sets. So an inventory of the data sets is not really much useful, because it will change. So the whole process, the whole three-step process is useful because of this, that things will change, and you need to take your input from the higher level vision, which will last longer. So Helsinki is looking for to be carbon neutral by 2035. That is already a better goal to the pilot in 22 than what data sets are available in Helsinki in May 2020. Great. So an example of a state-of-the-art implementation of AI. This is a building automation system for a Boston company called Symmetrix Analytica. And I just try to pinpoint that what we are looking for, that when traditionally issue logs could be something that the sensor value is above the threshold level, and here is the ticket that tells you that the sensor value is high. That is not very useful when you're actually looking for the actual cause of that thing. So what the role of AI is in this particular product is that it will tell you that it has fetched a lot of sensor data, and it will tell you that the reason is that there is a dirty filter, and if you don't change the filter, it will cost you $2,000 in a year. So taking care of this kind of lots of data, turning that into meaningful indicators, turning that into actions. What is also important to notice in this product that the company Symmetrics has been in the building automation business for 50 years. So their substance knowledge is collected throughout the 50 years of experience, and then they moved to AI. And what we would really need is of course that there should be also a chance to a new company that is good in the AI algorithms and good in the model to jump into this business and somehow acquire the 50 years of knowledge of building automation from somewhere. This system contains about 2,000 algorithms, and that is already also a second issue there. That is it feasible to enter to market with 5 algorithms in a system if your competitor has 2,000, and that is also a driving force for why we should start really building an open AI model library that we could in cooperation we could collect, and also that the output could be a service that is not only for building automation, but could be for built environment or for environmental in general. That is also possible. So the smallest part of or smallest type of the implementation of AI that might be useful in here is just a simple microservice. It takes raw data in, it generates meaningful indicators, and the meaningful indicators data stream could then be used in dashboards or reports or whatever, but not necessarily need to have a huge platform of doing everything. It could be, the implementation could be just a simple service as long as it is innovative and it does more things. Of course, in practice we would talk about maybe 2,000 algorithms done in the same way, but that is also for you to think about. Important thing again is to adopt existing infrastructures. So what is not necessarily a good idea to try to sell the cities a totally new platform that does everything. The city of Helsinki has currently 960 IT systems, and we don't want to go beyond 1,000. And AI is not the reason to go beyond 1,000. So we should somehow find out a way how we can utilize the existing platforms if we have Azure or Hadoop data lake or data warehouse, or if we are using services in Amazon. It should be possible in the pilot in 22 to have data sets that are in the already existing system. And this is also important for the cities because the SLAs, the service levels, are becoming more and more important also in this. And the service level is typically guaranteed only for the professional platform that the city has. When talking about the governance, that is so not only focusing on the model that you create, but also think about the workflows, also think about the audits of the AI, the ethical part of the AI, and of course also privacy. So in Helsinki, we are working on the My Data Operator model, which means that the data providers, data processors are connected through the operator model. What it also means that there should be a team that is looking for these models and do they really do what they are expected to do? What is the impact of privacy in each of the models? And this team is basically maintaining a precedence case library that would include that if it's a similar case, similar model using similar types of data, then there is no need to go through the whole audit process. It can be based on the precedent case library. And then, of course, what is the AI model registry? So I mentioned that this particular system is using 2,000 AI models. It would be great to have a library that is just starting to collect these kind of different models, and those would be then somewhere, and there would be the process. So when thinking about your concept, not only focusing on the model, but also focusing on the workflow around it, the governance models, the audit models, what are the privacy issues, how do you make transparent that there is no privacy issue or there is no security issue. That is quite valid. And finally, AI4EU project, the link is there. Have a look at that. The AI4EU project is creating on-demand platform for AI based on the Linux Foundation Acumos platform. So there might be some APIs, there might be some data models that are useful also in your work when you proceed with this. But with this, I will end my part and thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Timo. And in the end, some next steps to you that how we go to proceed. And now show this window. Yes. Okay, now here is some slides and here some repeating that the timeline of this project that Hugo already explained quite deeply, but so we are tentatively achieving to publish the request for tenders in the beginning of December this year, and then continue those phases in the first in the 4 months period and then 3 and 6 months, that final phase where the prototypes are tested in the cities, at least 2 cities, and the project will end that we are disseminating the results for the further and bigger audiences as well. So and here is some dates. So now we are in that global webinar and from this on, those we are going to have those local events in the cities, and Stavanger already invited you to join. And then we are ending this open market consultation period to the global webinar or online hackathon in September. We will confirm the date or dates later. And then we have published, actually it's already on the website, we have also the Open Market Consultation survey, and we will send the links to you as well when we are sending these materials afterwards to you. And then we are going to what I was planning to say. Well, yes, so all the events and materials will be published in our website. Where is the link? The link is here. And then you have sent plenty of questions, and many of them have already replied during this webinar. So we will publish question and answer section on the website afterwards. And if you have any further questions later, you can use the form in that website and make and send the questions to us. And I already mentioned that Open Market Consultation survey. This is one part of this process, that we will get the written feedback from you as a suppliers or as a procurers, so that how you see that are we in the right direction, or should we make what kind of fine tunings we should have. And also the matchmaking tool is coming, because it's necessary and needed to put experts together if somebody has a good idea but maybe not so much knowledge about the AI or vice versa. So it's good to get and we will give you opportunity to find a proper partners for to be with you in the proposals. And then here are those email address. That's how you can contact us, and our website, and you can also follow us in Twitter and LinkedIn. And if you have not yet subscribed to our newsletter and keep in touch and know what's coming up, so you can do that on the website as well. And more information about the preferred partners is also published there. And then I got the message, the question that, and know that that list of preferred partners Istanbul was missing. Sorry for that, but Istanbul is already one of those preferred partners for us. But I think that now, because this platform does not allow us to have questions from audience directly, so we will pick up some questions which you have asked from us, and then reply on them here now, and then continuing afterwards in the question and answers section in the website. But please, so my colleagues will now pick some questions to reply directly now.
Hello again, everyone. We are not going to go through all of them because there are quite many, and thank you for your comments and good questions already, and they will be published in our website. So now we are just going to go through some of what we perceive to be at the moment the most relevant ones. Sorry that we are not going to be able to talk about the most technical based questions. We'll need time to reflect on them properly and prepare the answers. But so yes, it's a long list. Let me check here how to go through that. Looks like they're open. Yeah. Yes, so yeah. I don't know if you already see the answered questions, so we were just wondering. They do. So in any case, let's just go through some of these, because one of the questions was about if you apply in a group, do the budget allocated per phase per supplier, would it be per group member or in total? Well, it is in total. So the budget is allocated per supplier, whether if you are working individually or in a consortium. Then there was a question about the timelines for the prototyping. Some people, Hans van Bommel was saying it's very short because we are talking about fundamental change, and that might be too ambitious to be implemented in such a short manner. And of course, this is a dialogue, and we are very happy to receive constructive inputs and recommendations. So we mentioned that the timelines and the budgets allocations are indicative at this stage, exactly because, of course, we are open for change if it's proven to benefit us and you. So yes, nevertheless, just to emphasize that we expect here to have a very interactive and kind of lean development. So based on a lot of support and back and forth conversations, and of course, this start of the open market consultation is intended already to give you a good basis to develop. And during the phase one, when you are working on the solutions specifications, we do believe that naturally you already are working on your own technology and probably taking steps ahead regarding to develop it into workable solutions. Everyone that will apply to AI4Cities needs to have a strong motivation to be there. So it's not just that we are providing you funding to give us a service. It's rather that you believe in your product and your technology, and you believe it has a future. And of course, with our support and our size in terms of market push, because we bring together a considerable group of cities, expert cities, and the preferred partners, which is a group that will also be growing as we move forward. So we are giving you this first market experience and potentially already giving you just by our own numbers already a very attractive market to start with. So you need to believe in this, and you need to show us that you have a proper exploitation and commercialization strategy. So it's a collaboration above everything else, and we expect that the prototypes are not fully are not mature in a way that they would be kind of close to market by the end of phase 2, but they are good enough that they can be tested in or their potential is tested in the lab environment. And then during the phase 3, when integrated and being piloted in the cities, we do expect to see a further development of the prototypes. But again, we are open to consider suggestions or to look again into the timelines. Will projects need to have an R&D partner? Will that be beneficial or advised? It's entirely up to you. So what you need to present is a team that is credible in towards the goal that you set. So if you think that you need to have an R&D partner working with you, please go ahead and have one. If you think that you already have the competences in-house, you are more than welcome to apply like that. In the past, like from past and current PCPs, we have all types of suppliers. We have individual university as suppliers, which have been quite successful, and they ultimately generated some sort of spin-offs themselves to then commercialize or exploit their solutions. We had small companies, we have had large companies, we have had consortiums. So it's totally open, and it really depends on how you think you can best put forward your case. Keeping in mind that the timings are, well, we have altogether three years, so we do have the timeline pressure, and we cannot demand to have, you know, a market-ready solution by the end of this process. So that's also something you need to take into consideration. And yeah, so it's really up to you. And we are going to have some sort of matchmaking tools to be provided to you, so that, you know, if you think that you have a very good technology or a very good concept but you need a technology partner, then you can via our support, you can try to find other organizations that are very interested in the AI4Cities challenge, and so that you can work together. So that's something that we plan to do as much as possible. So please give us also your needs, so that we can work on how to best help you to find the right partners to apply for this challenge. How much time do we have, guys?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. You heard, and thank you for your compliments on the presentations from Stavanger and Amsterdam. And of course, they talk from their own perspective, but these are examples. And in any case, what you will see in the request for tenders are a consolidation of these needs, and they are always in the interest of the entire buyers group. So it doesn't matter if the solutions are going to, or a specific need is going to be deployed or tested in Amsterdam or in Stavanger or in Paris or Tallinn or Helsinki. The need is interesting for all the procurers, for all the buyers, and ultimately all the buyers might want to utilize it in the future. So this is a joint procurement activity. So during the open market consultation and up to the request for tenders, you will be hearing more and more about the different needs from the cities, and you will have the individual or the local events, webinars, where cities will go more in depth into their own needs, but it's intended to give you an exhaustive understanding of the different realities. But of course, in the request for tenders, then you have a consolidated view of our needs and how we put them forward in the challenges.
So we have time for one question maybe,
Okay.
or it depends on your length of your.
Yeah, well, in which stage of the project do you actually collect the ideas from the vendors during seminars or via email? It's a good question. So we are collecting it right now via your questions, and we will continue to do that via the different webinars that are going to be held, even the local ones. Of course, everyone that is organizing it is collecting the input, and then we are consolidating it. And also there will be surveys produced, Kaisa showed you, so that will be also a very good tool for us to collect more input. And emails are as well. You have here the keeping in touch slide, and so just utilize all the channels. Our goal is really to get as much relevant constructive input as possible to validate our challenge, to understand what the market can provide, what are the limitations, so that we have the best possible request for tenders launched.
Maybe one question.
Maybe one question. Well, maybe this I mentioned it, but just to, a question was, how can we learn about the other cities' challenges? Well, you will have the local webinars. That's a very good way, and of course, this information like this webinar is all going into our website. So our website is the main tool for you to get information from about our challenges, how the process is taking place, and of course the questions and answers that we are going to be putting it there. And you already have a very good start with the questions and answers. So we have pre-populated them, so it's already a good source of knowledge.
And we are also added. We are going to add that city level information to the website when we find out that what are you actually looking for, and that kind of general information, what is available from the cities as well. So I think that it's time to thank you for your attention, and this webinar has recorded, and it's going to be, as Hugo already mentioned, going to be published, and we will send these presentations to you as well, so you can check some details if you have, and always you can send an email for us as directly if you have questions or concerns regarding this process. But I like to thank you for your time, but Hugo is still writing something to you. Yeah.
Yes, answering one more question.
Yeah. Okay, but thank you for the Stavanger and Amsterdam as well, Niels and Anja and Mimi and Timo. So you can follow us on the website and check those dates. Will be launched there of the local events when they are confirmed. But thank you for your attention, and see you later. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.